Hunter Brown came in third for the Cy Young vote. Christian Walker staying in Houston. And what other Astros were up for awards and missed out? Let's start right now.
This is Walker Yannick. You're listening to the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Locked On Astros. It's the offseason, but nobody takes off this season like Locked On Astros. We literally take off. We excel. We exceed the expectations. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse. You know me as Brett Chancey, and Eric the Man Huysman will actually be doing a tandem episode today. In the second half, he's got the other awards that were handed out and where other Astros ended up in those places. So tonight's episode, just like you know, is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book and is the NBA official sports book. And right now, your first $5 bet when you go there gets you $300 in bonus bets. Make sure that you're an everydayer. Make sure you know that it's cool to be an everydayer. Why? Because not only is this your favorite podcast to listen to via Astros, but it's also the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 podcast network in the country. Look, with 18 years of experience between Eric and myself, you know you cannot go wrong with Locked On Astros and the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day. Just make sure that you know that no matter what team you're a fan of, we have a show for you. So let's get into it. On today's show, Joe Espada, on coaching changes. In my half of the show, Dana Brown on Christian Walker and the Cy Young Award. Can Hunter Brown unseat Tarek Skubal in 2026? Thank y'all for listening in. If you're watching live, we appreciate you as a part of our viewing audience. And those of you listening, we thank you every day for stopping by and listening. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring back the old segment of what did Joe Espada say in our Yo Joe segment?
He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. Joe Espada, Yo Joe.
That's right. Joe Espada today was asked about the coaches on Astro Line. If you listen to Sports Talk Radio 790 in Houston, I'm sure you can go back and listen to the whole interview. They asked him about the coaching changes and the coaching staff because you know that he's known these guys for years. He said, look, these were very difficult conversations with some great coaches, but for us to keep this going, a change needed to be made. We need to bring our offense back. I'm very excited. We need to bring our identity back. And another tweet that I don't have right here in front of me, but if you follow me on X, I will retweet it later tonight. Michael Schwab said that he actually spoke with several players and they are excited about Rodriguez coming in, being the main hitting coach. Okay. Tomorrow night, Eric Huysman will be solo and he will break down with y'all everything that Dana Brown is saying at the GM meetings. And I'm just going to talk about one of the things because we hit on it last night on the episode when I talked about Dylan Cease, because it had come out and been reported that Christian Walker would be or is on the trading block. Now, let me preface this discussion with this. You can't always believe what the general manager of any team is saying in public, because it doesn't always translate to what's going on behind closed doors. We know this. You're a baseball veteran. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because y'all are smart fans, okay? So Dana Brown today did say, Christian Walker's not on the trading block. We are not trading him. He is our everyday first baseman, and we look forward to having him next year. That then elicits another conversation, and it makes me wonder, okay, now what does that mean about the infield? Eric, again, will cover Paredes in more detail, but they believe he will be ready on opening day. Why do I mention Paredes with Christian Walker? Is because of this. Because if Christian Walker were on the trading block and were to get traded, that would open up first base. You could slide Paredes to first, put Altuve in his natural position at second. But with Walker remaining there, at least in public, Paredes will be splitting time at second base with none other than Jose Altuve. Right now, I don't know. A friend of mine reached out to me today and said, I wonder if Paredes doesn't come back till June. They want him back opening day, but it's a hamstring injury that he didn't get repaired. So with Christian Walker, according to Dana Brown, on November 12th, 2025 at 8:10 p.m., if you're listening November 13th, I would doubt that Christian Walker will have been traded by then. But until we see further movement or negotiations starting, Christian Walker will be your first baseman next year. And that is probably to the chagrin of a lot of Astros fans who are highly critical of his lack of production. Yes, he did hit 25-plus home runs. Yes, he is a really solid glove at first base, but he was underwhelming at times at the plate, hitting in the low 200s most of the season. He did catch fire towards the end, but his average was so low that it was really hard to pick it up. So right now, Christian Walker apparently is going to remain a Houston Astro until at least next season, according to Dana Brown today. Now, let's move on to the Cy Young vote, because the Cy Young vote is something that everybody's been watching, everybody's been looking at, especially from an Astros perspective, okay? And if you look at the votes, Tarek Skubal wins his second consecutive Cy Young. I think that's the first time since Pedro Martinez did it, which, wow, that's a long time ago. So 26 first-place votes for Skubal, 4 second-place votes. It wasn't unanimous. Garrett Crochet actually got 4 first-place votes, 26 second-place votes. Now, Hunter Brown received 24 third-place votes, 3 fourth-place votes, and 2 fifth-place votes. Okay? I don't know if you noticed this, but he got a total of 81, or I'm sorry, not 81, good Lord. He got a total of 80 points. He was a solid third place. Fourth place was Max Fried. Brian Wu came in after him with 26 points with the Mariners, and then they had Rodon, Aroldis Chapman, got some tip of the hat, Trevor Rogers, Drew Rasmussen, so that rounds out the final. So what does that mean? That means that Hunter Brown assures that the Astros will get that compensatory pick in between the first and the second round. That's huge for the Houston Astros. This will help the Astros going forward. But my question is this: does Hunter Brown have enough? Does he have enough to unseat Tarek Skubal this next year? What would be a motivating factor? Number one, he's the ace. Number two, he is getting closer to getting out of his rookie years and into his large contract. 3, he's got Boris as his agent. 4, if the Astros start talking to him and making him offers and you hear about them publicly, then people are probably going to go, where are you starting? We will go a little bit above that. Now, if the Astros do what the Tigers did and offer Skubal a horribly undervalued contract, then if they do that, then you can kiss it goodbye. But Hunter Brown, I think, as a result, should get some consideration from this front office to be that guy that they pay, that they finally go out and pay. Again, I know going over thresholds and spending money is not what a lot of owners like to do. And I don't know if you saw this, but in line with our conversation about money, Major League Baseball talked to the owners about how Major League Baseball had lost hundreds of millions of dollars this last year, or like 1.8 billion or 180 million, whatever the number was. I don't have it in front of me. And the owners were kind of playing victim, which, when billionaires play victim, you're like, okay, whatever. Well, so sorry. But at the end of the day, I think that Hunter Brown is the guy that is worth it. He's the guy that you break the mold for. Now, I thought Kyle Tucker was that guy, but after his postseason performances, he's not that guy. I thought Framber Valdez might be that guy, but the mental breakdowns and the mental meltdowns were a little too much for me. So real quick, we're going to talk about our friends here at FanDuel, and then we'll come back and I'll wrap up my first half of the show, and then I'm going to kick it to my guy, Eric the man Huysman. So right now, let's talk about our friends at FanDuel. Everybody, thank y'all for tuning in. This is H-Town Wheelhouse here with the #1 sports podcasting network and FanDuel. The NBA is back, and right now the Rockets and Wizards are playing. And what do you know? They're winning. So why not make it more exciting with the official sports betting partner of the NBA? And don't miss a single game. Who's got the hot hand? Is it Alperen Sengun? Is it Amin Thompson? Is it the man, the Reed Pointer, Reed Shepherd? I mean, what is going to happen? Ime Udoka, this guy is probably riding the coattails of getting coach of the year this year. Whether you like halftime scores, whether you like fourth quarter comebacks, you can combine your live bets with same game parlays for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Now, right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's right. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the #1 sports podcasting network, and this is Locked On Astros, your favorite Houston Astros podcast. Make sure you make us your first listen, and make sure you listen to MLB Game Night as well. Listen to Locked On MLB as well. Locked On MLB is great with Paul Francis Sullivan, Locked On, and then MLB Game Night whenever we have the season. No matter where you are in the season, we have this going on with multiple hosts from all over the network. So, can Hunter Brown unseat Tarek Skubal? Well, I don't know that anyone's ever won a Cy Young 3 years in a row. And maybe that might be the Nikolai Jokic effect, where they didn't think Jokic deserved another MVP, so they gave it to, I think, LeBron James or something lame, where Jokic, I think, was robbed out of an MVP probably on more than one occasion. The guy's a complete player for the Nuggets in NBA. The reason why I mention that is I don't think Skubal will win back-to-back Cy Young awards. Now, there's a chance that Skubal could move. Skubal could be traded. If Skubal's traded to the National League, you better bet Hunter Brown is in line. Hunter Brown is on the rise. Hunter Brown, get this. Since he added his two-seamer, that game in Kansas City in 2024, he has created the most soft contact of any pitcher, and he's basically tied with Crochet and Skubal with an improved arm side run on his fastball and an 86.1 exit velocity average, meaning he produces soft contact. So Hunter Brown, I think absolutely this next year can supplant Skubal. If he does, then he is definitely out of town. You've got to sign Hunter Brown before he gets a Cy Young under his belt, because once he does, you just priced yourself out of the market, Papa Crane. So, Mr. Crane, listen to Locked On Astros and listen to me clearly. You've got to get Hunter Brown an extension. Do it before next year. And hey, look, signing a guy with a qualifying offer, I believe means that you possibly lose Brown's PPI pick. I've heard that, and I think one of our viewers now are watching are saying that. I'll do more research into that, and I will check that out. Well, if we do and we lose that PPI pick, then wow, that kind of is a counterpoint. So Mr. Nathan Landbolt came in with that bit of information. I will look into that, and once I find out, I'll do a little YouTube short. But you know what? That's all for my half of the show. Next, Eric is going to talk about the Houston Astros that were elected for other awards. Where did they come in? What place did they come in? What did they win? Did they win anything? So you know what? Take it away, Eric the man Huysman.
Thanks, Brett. Something tells me that this is not the last time that Tarek Skubal and Hunter Brown are going to be competing for the Cy Young. But we're going to go ahead and move on from the Cy Young award. Congratulations, by the way. But let's go ahead and focus on some of the other awards that the Astros kind of missed on. I know the team wasn't quite as good this year, but the people did recognize Joe Espada in some form. In terms of American League, he did not win the Manager of the Year. You wouldn't think that he would, but of course, it was Stephen Vogt. What he did with the Guardians was impressive. Not only did they have a terrible team, they even traded at the deadline, but they got into the playoffs. And so their winning streak, the fact that they essentially knocked the Astros out of the playoff picture, that was I know it was technically the Tigers, but because the Guardians knocked the Tigers out, they knocked the Astros out. So it's kind of a domino effect there. But Stephen Vogt got the most of the first place votes. He got 17. John Schneider with the Blue Jays, he got 10. Dan Wilson with the Mariners got 2. Alex Cora with the Red Sox got 1. AJ Hinch and Joe Espada got 0 first place votes. But if you look at the total votes, you have Vogt with 113, John Schneider with 91, Dan Wilson with 50, Alex Cora with 7, AJ Hinch with 6, and then Joe Espada with 3. I think that AJ Hinch deserves a little bit more votes there just because of what he did with that organization. This was a team that, yes, they showed signs last year. They did make the playoffs last year in a wild card, and they did beat the Astros. But this team, I don't think a lot of people expected them to be this good. And so they impressed a lot this year. So it was kind of surprising to see AJ Hinch not a little bit up there. Alex Cora, I mean, yes, the Red Sox, they have a good organization, but they also had to deal with the Devers, especially after the acquisition of Alex Bregman. They had to trade Devers, but to keep that clubhouse from going totally crazy, I can see why he's on there. And Dan Wilson, what he did with the Mariners was impressive. But I guess the Blue Jays, Guardians, that was kind of the biggest stories of the season. So I can see how they got the most votes. But overall, if you look at the National League, Pat Murphy with the Brewers, he got 27 first place votes. Terry Francona with the Reds, he got 2 first place votes. And Rob Thompson with the Phillies got one first place vote. Pat Murphy with the Brewers got 141. And so he was the Manager of the Year. So that's Pat Murphy in the National League, Stephen Vogt with the American League. So that's what happened. So let's say next year. Let's go and talk about 2026 before we go to a commercial break. Let's go and talk about what if the Astros, they make some key additions, whether it's Dylan Cease, Michael Keane. If they get a big addition, they go ahead and maybe add another bat. Maybe you stay healthy. You have a healthy Josh Hader. You figure things out, and then you get back into not only contention, but you get to that number 1, number 2 seed going into the playoffs. I think that's when you might see Joe Espada getting some more love in terms of American League Manager of the Year votes. But I know that's not the end-all, be-all for that. But I know it'll be good to see. It's good to see Joe Espada getting some recognition. I mean, there's 30 teams out there, and so 15 in the American League. So out of 15 teams with 15 different managers, I know that some came out in and out this year. Some were fired, but he was in the top 6. So I guess that is good to think about it that way. So next, we're going to talk about the Rookie of the Year. Where did Cam Smith finish, and what does that mean for his future, and what Astros prospects could be candidates for 2026? We'll talk about that next. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen, and we're part of the #1 podcast network out there. Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. So I know the talk all year was after the Kyle Tucker trade, you got Cam Smith. Let him develop. Let's see what happens. Then spring training came around and they're like, holy crap, look how good this guy is. What if he's one of those players that you don't have to have a lot of playing time. I think he only had 114 at bats in the minor league. So what if he was this guy that can make that transition to the big leagues? And at the beginning of the year, he made the switch from third base to the outfield, and everything was looking pretty good. And I would say Jacob Wilson was probably the biggest thorn in Cam Smith's side. I think that he was probably going to be the odds-on favorite for the rookie year until Nick Kurtz came around, especially Nick Kurtz against the Houston Astros, because he crushed the Astros this year. So you're talking about unanimous. This doesn't happen very often where you have a rookie year candidate get all first place votes. That's what Nick Kurtz did. What he did, I know that because I followed him because of fantasy baseball, and this kid was crushing it down in AAA, and it was just a matter of when they're going to bring him up. And I know Soderstrom was doing really good with the A's, and they're like, well, he's a first baseman. Soderstrom is a first baseman. What are you going to do with him? So they went ahead and bound away like most good teams. I'm not going to call the A's a good team, but most teams, when they see a talent like that, they bring him up. So Nick Kurtz got 30 first place votes. That's a total of 210 votes. Jacob Wilson got 23 second place votes, so he got 107. So let's go down the list. You have Ramon Anthony, who finished with 72 votes. Noah Cameron with the Royals, 54. Colson Montgomery with 23. Carlos Narvaez with 21. Jacob Leiter with 6. Will Warren with the Yankees, 5. Then you keep on going down to number 10. You have Cam Smith. 10th place. He got 1 vote in 4th place. I think that if he didn't become I think he became the 4th outfielder at some point. That kind of hurt. I think the fact that his production dropped off. I think the fact that he struggled at times, and I think the league kind of figured him out. And now it's up to Cam Smith to figure things out. So he finished 10th. Shane Smith, who had a great season for the White Sox as a starting pitcher, finished 9th. He got the same amount of votes as Shane Smith. So I'm not going to look at this and be like, wow, he had a sucky season. He has some room to grow. And nobody knows this more than Cam Smith. He knows that what he struggled with this last year, he didn't have that extra time in the minor leagues to tone his craft and become the type of hitter that he wanted to. His transition from third base to right field was legendary. He became this great outfielder. I know that he was a finalist for the Gold Glove in right field. That in itself was impressive. I know they got him for his bat. So that bat will come around. So if you're looking at PPI, that will follow him for the next 2 seasons because he played this entire season. So let's just say next year he breaks out and somehow in the next 2 years, he becomes the MVP or finishes in the top 3 of the MVP race. The Astros will still get a pick because they did have him up for majority of the season. So that's what the PPI incentive is supposed to do, is to get the teams to not just sit on them like we've seen them do so many times. So that's what's going on with Cam Smith. Will he improve next year? I think it all just depends on what he's doing and what's going from there. So The Astros got a whole bunch of rookie of the year candidates from Carlos Correa 2015, Alvarez in 2019. Like Correa did win it. Alvarez won it in 2019. You have second place finishers in Luis Garcia 2021. Jeremy Pena was fifth in 2022, and Yainer Diaz was fifth in 2023. But the Astros did not have any rookies in 2024, get any votes. So the question is, what about 2026? Who could be candidates for that role? So I know Zach Cole, he came on, and at the end of the season, he just kind of exploded out of nowhere. And he had a 255, 327, 553 slash line with 4 homers, 11 RBIs, and 15 games. So the question is, how much playing time does he get? Do they have to make a trade to get that playing time? So Jake Myers is the incumbent in center field. You're going to give Cam Smith that time to develop in right field. So what about left field? Jordan Alvarez is going to be the left fielder, likely, unless you go ahead and make him the DH. But I think the idea here is to maybe transition Altuve either back to second base or as the primary DH at this point. So you can have Cole as a candidate. AJ Blueball, we saw what he can do in a limited time. He should still be a candidate for a rookie, but last year in 32 innings, he had a 1.69 ERA in 11 games, 3 starts last season. So he touched 99 miles per hour. So I think that his stuff will be good. He likely will make the rotation unless the Astros make a free agent signing. So we'll see. Bryce Matthews is another guy to look at. And there's Walker Yannick is somebody that could come out of nowhere and surprise. I don't know how much playing time he'll get. But especially if Victor Caratini doesn't come back, and let's say something happens, Cesar Salazar, you need a candidate to be the backup. And they can always do a situation like they did with Victor Caratini, where a Yannick or Yainer Diaz can play first base as well. So he could be a candidate if he comes up at a certain time. So there's so many different options that could be up for the rookie year 2026. Probably somebody that we're not even thinking about at this moment. But if you're going to make me say, Eric, you have to pick somebody right now, it's got to be Cole. I just think that this guy, yes, he's going to strike out a little bit. Yes, his batting average may not be super high. That may have just been a small sample size. But I like what I saw. Yes, he's a little bit susceptible to the slider. But I think that with development time, spring training, I think that he'll be fine. I think that he knows he saw big league pitching. He knows what to work on during off season. But so we'll see what happens. But this off season will be interesting. Guys, make sure you tune in to the Locked On Astros podcast all off season. And thank you, Brett, for covering for me for the last 2 nights. And I just want to chip in a little bit tonight. I'm still on night shift. Tonight's my last shift. I'm going in a little bit. But I just wanted to say hi, guys, and thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you for doing that. Go and check out MLB Game Night every night to just talk. MLB with Sully. He does a great job just talking baseball and everything. So go and make us your first listen, the Locked On Astros podcast, part of the #1 podcast network out there. And I don't want to give too much information, but pretty soon we're going to be having an Everydayers Club. So if you're one of those Everydayers, go ahead and start bookmarking your calendar for the beginning of December, because we have some special plans for that. So thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast the best Astros podcast out there. And we will see you tomorrow. And as always, go Astros.